Hello, so today I'm going to be talking about illustrated integration. I have shown a couple of examples here and will kind of slash by as I'm talking about it. This really peaked in popularity in about 2019 and I saw it get used a lot in video, and it's a really effortless way of elevating a photograph so that it is a little bit more in depth and it can have a little bit more opportunity for story. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be editing in Photoshop, and I'm going to take you through the process of how to create this particular look. Thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a file and place my image. I have two separate images that I was kind of going back and forth on attempting. I would suggest it is better when it is your own original work, but honestly, for just showing off a new style, I'm just using some random stuff that I found on the interwebs. So to talk about the size, I'm using a standard 300 megapixel, and it is an 8 by 10, like an 8 by 11 sheet of paper. But a lot of times I find people want to share these online, and so being intentional about making sure that the size is specifically for where it's going to go. So if it's going to be a banner, then make sure that it is in banner mode. If it's going to be a lock screen, or if it is going to be like an Instagram screen, just make sure that they're fit correctly. Otherwise, you might lose some of the work that you start with. So the important thing to start off with is you want to make sure that your background is on its own layer. You want to have your picture on its own layer, and you want to do your drawing on its own layer. So make sure that once you have this, you have all three of these on the other layer. The second most important thing I would say in this is when you go into your brushes, you want to make sure that brush is as hard as it can be, because one of the main things I see when people start this is they start with a really soft, wishy-washy brush, and that's just not the look. You want to have something that is intentional and is nice and bright. I put my smoothness up to about 29%. I found that it gets a little too laggy once it gets over like 25%, in my opinion. The other thing I like to use is the general like smoothing brushes are fine, but I personally am a fan of the drawing box ones, like the pencil one. So again, being really intentional on it. I feel like this has a more sketchy kind of look to it. I am going to set mine to white for this particular picture, but you can honestly do it in anything. And the thing I'm focusing on this is my lines. So I want to make sure my line qualities are good. My smoothing went down to 0, so I'm going to bring that back up to about like 23%. We'll see if that works. All right, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of get the look. All right, I'm on my own layer. I want to get the look that like he's calling and there's ghosts coming out of his mouth. Kind of like, because you know how loons are so spooky. And so, like I said, the main reason for doing this is like either to elevate the aesthetic of it or to elevate like the fun of it or the story of it. And so I always think it's funny when people talk about loons having like that spooky, ghosty sound. So I'm going to make it look like as he is calling, little ghosts are coming out of it. So then I'm going to go, woo, woo. All right, I'm going to see what it looks like when it's colored in. Yeah, I think that the eyes and nose need to be colored in. I'm going to leave the body as negative space, but I'm going to color in the eyes here. There we go. I'm also going to kind of make it look like they're different. Like I kind of want to give each ghost their own personality. So I might kind of just alter the eye direction a little bit, maybe making them a little smaller, making them kind of like this one, he's kind of off to the side here. I think that that is kind of a very subtle and different change. Like I said, if I had a word that summed up all design, it would be intentional. Be intentional with your design. So I'm going to do one more up here so it doesn't look like a negative space. And here's my last little ghost. And so, yeah, like I said, kind of an effortless little thing, but it just kind of has a little bit more like fun and playfulness with it. I can go around and I can kind of perfect my lines and I can kind of fix some things up. But that's one thing that you can do to kind of increase this. Another example that you can do, and I'm just going to keep the same thing. I'm just turning off the layers on this one. Another thing that you can do is if you wanted to, you can actually kind of create what I call the shadow line. And the shadow line is where you go through and you find something in the picture that is just really beautiful to you, or some detail that you want to accentuate and really let the audience see, and just trace it. Trace it and then move it to the side so that it almost looks like it is a shadow of the original line. And so it'll kind of accentuate something. One thing that I've seen this a lot is someone will have a beautiful lace dress or something, and they'll redraw the lace dress and they will allow the lace to kind of pop out. Another thing that I saw someone do with this particular style is they went a little bit further with it. Instead of just doing line work, they went and they focused on culture, and they had a bunch of girls who had immigrated from other countries, and they drew on the jewelry that was specific to their native country. And all these girls were like second generation, so they didn't actually have any of these things, but the way that they were able to draw it on, it kind of was talking about like a history that they didn't have access to, but they believed in, and they wanted to represent that still, even though they couldn't have it physically. And so it was a really powerful piece. And like I said, that's really the goal, is creating something that is greater than what we have available to us. All right, so here's my shadow style, and then I can move this to the side, just off it a little bit, almost creating like a glitch. I could also change it, like overlay it. I could copy this one and make a pattern, but that is kind of the look that I was kind of talking about. So that's kind of like the glitch or the shadow style, and that's the other version of it. So like I said, a really fun way of creating story that may have been harder to accomplish if you were just taking a photo on its own. And like I said, I did this in just a few minutes. It's very easy to do. To round up, remember, two most important things is make sure that you have each of these on different layers. You're not accidentally drawing on your photo layer. And second thing, make sure you have a very hard, not fuzzy brush, because the brushes that are soft and pointless are very, very, it's so ugly. It is the ugliest looking thing. It looks unintentional and it looks just really messy. And so really make sure that that is a hard, crisp brush, so it looks like actual pencil and not a weird foggy out of focus thing on it. All right, have fun drawing.